Hi, this is Jen Poncelet, IB coordinator at West Middle School, and today I want to share the findings of our IB evaluation visit. As you may remember, our evaluators came on January 29th and 30th. And the reasoning for an IB evaluation is it's an opportunity for those IB experts to review how our school is implementing the program. It's to celebrate our successes and also provide guidance for future growth and improvement. This is the culmination of really 5 years of work since the end of our last evaluation visit. We are constantly in the process of reflecting and trying and then evaluating how things are going. And we've been doing that a lot, especially the last 2 years. We were completed a self-study process, which included members of the board, members of our district leadership and our school leadership, our students, our families, our staff, as we looked at our different programs and processes and made adjustments as we went. So that self-study part is a huge part of our evaluation. And then this was a time for outsiders to come into our school, for experts in the IB to give us some feedback. And so that feedback was provided for us at West by two wonderful IB educators, Esra Osman, who is an international educator. She currently lives in Toronto. She has lived in England, in Saudi Arabia, and she's seen schools all over the world and evaluated and taught and been the coordinator in those schools. Our other evaluator was Kari Christensen, who is a local IB coordinator, and she works in the Robbinsdale district. But she also travels around the world and evaluates IB schools. So it was a great time for us to get that outsider perspective. So they visited lots of classes. They had meetings with many different groups, including and especially our students. And then at the end of that time, that we had a conclusion meeting where they reported their findings. They will be sending us a more detailed report, but they gave us an overview of what they thought. Overall, their evaluation was very glowing. We had about 10 areas where they saw as strengths. So we're either meeting or exceeding their expectations. They saw strength, especially in how the values and vision of Hopkins West and the district aligned with IB. We knew that we share those values with IB, and they especially called out the district leadership, our school board members, our superintendent, and our building leadership for really understanding and supporting what happens in our classrooms. And our students, they were the favorite group of the evaluators, of course, and they're our favorite as well. But our students said that our school felt inclusive, unique, welcoming, creative, open minded, and diverse. So we were very proud of that. As for our school environment, the evaluators actually said, like, this feels like, and I know that they meant this in a good way, like a private school, in just the resources that we have, in the flexible seating, in the way that the school is just so beautiful and so well kept. Some things that we might sometimes take for granted. So that was really great for us to hear from them. They said the students were using the flexible learning spaces really well. They're highly used, that we value and prioritize the holistic needs of teachers and of students. They said that teachers felt like people, not just like numbers or employees, after meeting with a number of groups of teachers. And that was really heartening for us. Our community school services provide support for our West Middle School families. And they really were impressed by our technology, especially the audio enhancement in every room, and students using iPads and screens. They said that not every school has those things. So they also really pointed out some areas in learning where students are able to see the real world connections of what they're learning, which we're so excited about, and that students explore personal and cultural identity, and that teachers collaborate together really well to create curriculum. I wanted to point out, especially to this group, that our evaluators were really impressed with our Hopkins strategic planning process. And the way that they saw that is in something that IB calls a program development plan. So the IB basically wants all schools to do what we're doing. They have a formula for doing it, but honestly, and I told them this, I just used what we had done in our strategic plan and put it into the IB format. And they were so impressed by how thorough it was, how, the goal setting that we do, and how we set goals every year, that we look at our three goals. And it was a great time for us to reflect and think about, yeah, we have done a lot of things, and it's often because of that process, because we're able to ideate, to make those things, to put those things into practice, and then to evaluate our systems. And so we looked at our culture goal from a couple of years ago and how we made those changes. So they really gave a lot of credit, and I gave credit to our IDL team who came up with that system and who runs that system for us. So I wanted to really call attention to that our evaluators were very impressed by that whole process. And I'm hoping they might steal a little bit of it for the IB, because they weren't very impressed with IB's forms for it. So they, of course, had some opportunities for development for us, none of which were new. As being very self-reflective as a staff, we know that we are working on our caregiver communication and education. IB scoring is different. And so that is something that we're continuing to work on with, especially parents. Students are able to understand it very well. For parents, it's much more difficult. So we're figuring out, and they were able to give us some ideas on how to do that better. And then to integrate what are called the global contexts. Those are parts of the IB that we haven't really scratched the surface on very much. We've implemented them a little bit, but that's something that they say will make students, make that learning even more authentic for our students. And so our next steps are celebrating and then continuing to work on those things. And also to follow up on some things that our students suggested, like working towards more outdoor spaces. And last, I just want to thank you as a leadership team. Of course, to our students, our community, to our staff. I've made a video similar to this for all of our different stakeholders. But thank you so much, district leadership, for your guidance and for your support of our IB program.